Hey guys, welcome to my channel, The Wandering Wellspring. This is the tarot for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Mars, or Venus for the month of March. Now, I do this a little bit differently than others you may have seen. Before I do these videos, I go ahead and meditate on the energies of your sign, and then I'll get visions. Now, in this video, I'll be telling you the vision I got, as well as interpreting a little bit in regards to what that might mean for you for the month of March, or what you may need to focus on a little bit. Then from there, I'll pull oracle cards and tarot cards, and we'll dig into those. This is a general reading for the collective, so it may or may not resonate or fit your situation. Please remember, though, like, comment, and subscribe, and really let me know how things resonated for you and what you'd like to see on this channel. Especially during this time, human contact is huge. So commenting is a great way to help the YouTube algorithm, along with liking and subscribing, of course. Also, if you like the decks you see, I'll try to mention the decks in the videos. Otherwise, I will be listing them in the description below. Hey Virgos, this is your reading for the month of March 2021. The way I like to do these is I start off with letting you know a vision I got during my meditation time for you, and then I move into oracle cards and then tarot cards as guided from there. So the vision I got for you, it was basically, it's almost like you're in a boat, or you are in a boat in the vision, and you just swing your legs over that edge and get out and go. However, you're in a boat, and the focus is this action, getting out, not the fact of this is how it's been the whole time, or if it has been, I don't know. But when you do that, it's really easy, and you just literally just swing your legs over and get out, because you're sitting on a pile of books. So I asked what those books were, and I got that, I basically got like, and it's not necessarily you're writing currently, or some of you maybe, some of you it's what you have done, but just, and I didn't even say a hand, it was just like a pen, just writing and writing and writing. All these pages and pages like flying as it, like it's writing. So then I asked what I asked, hold on, I'm trying to get my words straight. I asked why you were getting out of the boat. I couldn't remember if it was why you were getting on the boat or what that action symbolized. Either way, I don't know if it makes much difference, but I asked why you were getting out of the boat. And then I saw basically it's like a car's pulling, or not pulling, but driving by a house. And you know, when you put a house for sale, you know, if you put the sign out, you're just going to put the sign out in the front yard. Well, in this, the car is driving by a house, and the person, like there's a person taking a sign saying the house is for sale, and instead of putting it in the front yard, they're literally going up to this car and like, it's for sale, it's for sale. There wasn't much focus or, hold on, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. There wasn't much focus or attention to who was who, or if the driver was paying attention. The focus was more so that this is what's happening. The sign that this house is for sale is going out, but it's not just going out and getting planted in the yard. It's going out literally aggressively to cars passing by. Like, hey, this is for sale. So now what I take from all of that to mean is, well, there's two different things. You're in a boat And some of you, it may be that you've done a lot of writing, or you're processing through things, and you're, chewing on situations, concepts, things in your past. And you have a lot in your mind right now, or you have had a lot in your mind, and you've collected a lot. And some of it's also part of your identity of who you are. Because if you think about it, when it comes to writing, the act of writing itself gives more opportunity for you to meditate on something, because it takes longer than talking. So some of these, for some people, this is something that you've been chewing on a lot, and it's not impulsive things for some of you. And most of it's things that you've really been pondering and trying to figure out. And like I said, some of it's about your identity, some of it's where you stand on things. It's just all this, who you are, and passion about stuff, and your stance on things all in one. And like I said, some of it's also your background, your past things you've dealt with, and writing that stuff out. And so for some of you, this might be literally like journal writing or meditating, because these are things that are like I said, meditated on. These are things that didn't just go through, but literally like go through to get put on paper, but had the process of being put on paper. So it was taking the time it takes to put something on paper. For others of you, this might be actually literally a book you're deciding to write, or you're deciding to put out your thoughts and your ideas and where you stand on some things. And not necessarily put out for others. Some of you, that might be the case. But in general, using that as a lift up to get out of the boat. Your mode of transportation, what it's been so far in this not setting, but stage of life, the way it's been previously. And so you're getting out of it instead. So when you get out, and that's the thing too, is when you get out of a boat, generally that's because you're arriving somewhere. You've been transported. So right now you're going from one place to another. It may be another boat, most likely it's not, or it may be dry land. Either way, it's not the same place you've been. The other thing about that is when you're in a boat, you're working with the energy of the water. So you are rowing. If it's a rowboat, you're rowing. And as you row, actually it's more like this, I think, or this. No, it's this. Sorry. As you row, you're feeling the resistance and the energies of the water. And that's giving you, is it resistance? That's giving you leverage to pull you to pull you forward as you row. So when you do that, you're literally working with the energies around you. Whether that's for your good or in relation to enjoying the energies or agreeing with them or anything like that, that's not the point. The point is you exist when you're in that boat in that realm of possibility. So it's almost like gravity. It's like there's certain rules that apply to you, or that certain frames of mind and mentalities and perceptions and viewpoints, or not truths, but things you hold as, truths, sometimes limiting, sometimes just normal beliefs that happen when you're in that boat. And you not obey, but basically you believe that has the power. So you believe that it's almost like the whole, two can play that game, or it takes two to tango, where it's like in this place that you've been, this setting that you've been thus far, whether you've agreed with your past, whether you've agreed with things around you or not, you've allowed it to affect you to where when you would think, I need to rise above this, your rising above was you looking down at the other and saying, okay, I'm going to go above so I'm not like that. So there was always a, sorry, I'm going to put it like this. There was always a awareness of what the other did or what the other was doing. Does that make sense? So you were affected by your environment, whether you agreed with it, whether you were consciously wanting to be like it and, you know, go with it or not, you were affected by your environment. But now you're in this place, you're getting out of the boat. So now as far as, excuse me, the sign, like I said, when you put a sign out, a for sale sign for a house, it goes to the yard. So that means that whoever's passing by, if they consciously, or not consciously, but if they choose to look over, they'll see it. Now, if that applies to them, it does. It does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But either way, they'll see it and they'll have that opportunity to say, is this applying to me or not? However, if someone is talking to somebody else or fixated on something else and they miss it and they don't look, sorry, this is like an eye I'm using, like they don't look over at the sign, then they just keep going on the path they're going and they never even notice that that was an option. You are taking a much more aggressive stance and you're literally bringing it to them. It's like, this is for sale. This is for sale. I feel like for some of you, this is your approach to avenues and how you're handling things in your life right now, newly, what's going to be happening versus how things have been before. For some of you, though, this is you to yourself. So this is you confronting where you stand to yourself and saying, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done. Not because necessarily it's only bad or anything, but it's I'm going to a different place. This house is not mine anymore. But guess what? I'm going to get money from it. So when you get money, when you get provisions from this thing that you're saying is no longer yours, what you're doing is you're in this situation, you're deciding, okay, with all this writing, all this stuff, all this, not culminating, but all this chewing on stuff, you're deciding, you know what? I don't have to have that only exist in my mind or in these books. I don't have to have those only exist in my heart. If some of you have been wounded and have past issues you're working with and you're dealing with, you're deciding you don't have to have it only exist there and only help you. So you're coming to a place where you're saying, you know what? If some of this stuff has been bad, for those of you that have been dealing with a lot of bad things in the content of those books, or a lot of sad things and a lot of pain, and even confusions, you're coming to a place and saying, I don't want others to deal with that. I want to share my story, and I can actually use those books, use what I've built up, use who I am on the inside to get me further and get to another house or get to another boat. You're basically literally consciously making the choice that this isn't your home anymore, your mentality where you've been in that sense. And that's okay. And not just that, you're going to gain and you're going to prosper because this is going to give you strength for your next adventure or for your next focus. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing as far as what to say through that. So yeah, for some of you, you're stepping into a more aggressive way of dealing with yourself, say the car and you with the sign, aggressive way of dealing with yourself and saying, you know what, we're done with this. We don't need to see this as something that has power over us. Our past, our pains, our confusions doesn't have to have power over us, and we can move forward. And for some of you, you're literally saying, okay, I'm taking this and I'm going out into the world with it. And I'm going to just put it out there. If this person's not interested, they're not interested. But guess what? I'm not afraid anymore of my voice coming out and being loud and sharing that this is the house I've been in. You know, some of you are coming to a place of not being ashamed anymore. And you might not be there yet, but that's kind of what it looks like, is this concept of, if you lived in this house and you're saying it's for sale and you're saying it's yours, you're the one that, you know, I mean, that's not necessarily always how it works, but, you know, it's like you're selling it yourself. Then it's you also saying, I'm not ashamed to say that this is who I've been, and to say that someone else might find value from it, but it's not where I am anymore. But I'm going to use that, like the books, to help me get out of the boat and get into my next phase in life. So yeah, some of you are really coming to a place of, I don't need to feel shame. I don't need to worry what will others think anymore. I'm just going to do me. And I'm just going to make the best. Not make the best in the sense of, oh, everything's broken, let me make the best. No, make the best and shine as bright as I can. Through actually touching and connecting to my actual, clear, honest identity. Because a lot of you have, well, let's well, let me see. Yeah, let me see. Let's just go into the cards. I'm going to start with the Oracle. This one's the Beyond Lemuria Oracle cards. But yeah, I hope that's resonating for you guys. And I mean, like I said, I always say this in all my videos, but really, it's a matter of getting the message when you're supposed to get it. So if you're getting this later and thinking, but, you know, is this going to resonate? If you have a feeling to listen to it, or if it's really resonating for you, then go for it and, you know, see if it's speaking to your life. Also, if you're not a Virgo sun, that's okay. If you're a Virgo rising, other planets in Virgo, hey, maybe this might be picking up the energy of someone near you and helping you understand what someone else is going through. Either way, there's so many ways. It's just a matter of, yeah, I hope this reaches you. That's my intention, that it reaches exactly who it's supposed to in exactly the ways it needs to. And yes, Spirit, God, Universe, what messages, show us what messages that Virgo needs to see or hear, whatever, in regards to the visions and everything happening for March, the month of March. What does Virgo need to see? kind of feel like just picking 3 cards. Or not picking, but drawing 3 cards. So, let's see what's going on. So I'm going to show you guys these cards too. So it says Our Ancient Future, if you can see it. This is the Portal Keeper. And this says Balanced Forces. So right offhand, Our Ancient Future. There's 2 things I see about this card. It reminds me what I said about the books. You know, how that can be your past and your things you've struggled with or things you're coming to terms with in your life that's happened. You know, a lot of thoughts and meditations and writings, you know, journal writing, or just writing in general. And you're literally saying, okay, well, you're going to bring light or life out of some of the past stuff. And for some of you, it's pains from the past that you've learned, that you've grown from, that you've grown out of, that you've healed from. And bring it into the future. So it's like that. It's like the house, you know? You're not just saying, okay, I'm not going to live there anymore and I'm just leaving. Like, forget that house. I'm abandoning it. Like, I don't want anything to do with it. You're not doing that. You're saying, I still see it as value. It's almost like you're coming to terms with almost forgiveness of, this has happened to me and it was really sad and it hurt for some of you. But I'm not going to let myself be a victim of it. And so therefore, I'm going to keep moving forward and I'm going to actually take it with me so I can help others that are going through the same thing, or so that they don't have to hurt or feel alone as I did in my issues. So it's like you're literally paving your future with provision from how you handle your past, if that makes sense. How you consciously choose to handle your past. And there's also an element of she's a fish and she's like them. Or she's like a mermaid almost. It looks different. And she's like them. But she's also kind of humanoid. So she can reach both. Like, she can dive into both realms. She can connect. She's using her pains or her roots and able to connect to other realms through that reach, you know, through the reach that she's gained because of existing in 2 realms, or because of the realizations that she's made, that now make it to where she can exist in both realms without making her past have power over her anymore. Also, I mean, again, the same way, the Portal Keeper. So it's like, there's something weird about this. So I see this shape too, but I see this and this as almost like the eyes. I know that's not exactly the case. I just automatically see that. So, like I said, I believe it's more intuitive. So even if it might not physically look like that necessarily, that's what I feel. And there's an element of, in that continuity, in that portal, in that connection, balance, like even with the balanced forces, in all that. I'm not gonna let this end on the negative or the confusion or sufferings that I've been through. I'm not gonna let it end on that note. I'm gonna transmute it and grow and heal and create a whole nother life for myself. That balance, that they can't win on that, not win, but that side can't win. I need to do this so that I know I put it, like I've put, that I am a key player in my life, that I am not a victim, that like I'm going to be active in my life. I'm not going to be forced or feel like a victim in my own life, in my own head even, forget life, like in my own brain, in my own thoughts, in my own mentalities. I'm no longer going to be a victim, because you are coming out of this. You were before a little bit more of a victim, some of you more so than others, even mentally speaking, like in the way you were thinking about things, whether you were actually went through bad traumas or not, the way you were looking at the dealings and how things happened in your life, you would take actions in response to or in relation to how you'd learned to take actions. So if in the past, in your upbringing, you would learn when you do one thing, then you expect something else happens, and that's how it always goes. Then you'd go into the present, and then you'd go into the future, and you go up to, like, you know, where things were recently, to where you were still doing that. You were still expecting when you take this action, it's always going to act like this back to you. So even if people weren't going to be like that back to you, those are the type of people you were drawing in, were people that would take that dance with you. So you're coming to this place of balance, of not being willing to be a victim in your own life, not being willing to attract that energy. And you're coming to a decision that you're going to choose the energy that you attract. It's no longer this happens automatically, or I always draw these kind of people. You're going to choose the energy that you attract. You're going to choose the tribe that you attract. Because there's been a lot of you that have been, you've had a tribe, not a tribe, but the people that you've put close to you and you've put in your circle have been people you've been either settling with, or people that you've just said, well, it's not like anyone's going to feel or think like me, so this is the way it's going to be. Or you've gone so much in that excuse me, mentality and that pattern of helping people and helping broken people and helping people, or trying to convince people that they're not as broken as they are trying to make themselves out to be, that after a while, that's all the people that you've attracted. And while you're all for helping people and being there for people, you've come to a point that you'd like people that are like-minded with you. You'd like people that can choose the light, can choose to not be victims, can choose these things themselves, can have that desire, that intention. You want people with those same type of intentions for healing and wholeness that you do. You want people that are quicker to choose the struggle that it takes to fight that mentality of being a victim before they choose the temptation of saying, oh, well, it's everyone else's fault. Everyone is always so cruel to me, and I just give up on life. Does that make sense? You want people You've wanted people, but you've been fine with it because you've been trying to help people. So you've been fine with everyone that comes through. Not everyone, but you know what I mean? Like all these people that come through that don't vibrate on your level. You've been fine with that because that's kind of all you've gotten so far. But that's also because you were coming from a place of that boat of, okay, well, I'm going to I'm going to write everything down on this. I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to keep it inside because this is all for me. And maybe I'll tell other people that they need to do it. But I don't know if anyone really wants to see me. I don't really know if this might be a waste of people's time. You know, I don't know. I don't want to be a burden to people. Oh, I think I might be in the way of some people. That mentality, you've come out of that. So this whole time you've been saying you're in this new place of growth, of healing, because you might have been saying this for a while, that you're higher vibrating than a lot of people in your life. And you have been. But you haven't fully, because you've been there, you've been having the intention, you've been wanting that. But the one thing you've been slipping up on is you've been falling into the trap of saying everyone is so much more amazing and capable of things than you are. You've fallen into that trap of saying, you know what, if someone says thank you, if someone says you did a good job, in your mind you just go, okay, well, yeah, I had this help, I had that help, of course I did an amazing job, this was a great team. You haven't allowed yourself the opportunity to think or feel like you can accomplish amazing things. It's always been a dream, maybe that would be amazing and maybe I could do that for somebody else. But it's never felt real, and it's never felt like something that could be real as just something where you're the reason for it. You haven't allowed yourself to be the reason to live. You've always, some of you have always felt like if it wasn't for taking care of this person, if it wasn't for being there for this person, I don't know what my purpose would be. And it's not even just purpose. Like, it's not like purpose, like, oh, a goal and you need this goal and you need that. No, it's literally like they're more important. They come first in your mind. It's the way it's been. That's not the way it should be, but that's the way it's been. And in that mentality, you've told yourself you're a very kind person and you put others before yourself. And yes, if you put others before yourself, that's a really great thing. But if you put others before yourself because you put yourself so low and because you see yourself as in the way, that's really nothing to other people. That's just you. It's just you branding other people, if that makes sense. It's you saying, okay, well, this is what this is worth, and this is what I'm worth, and this is what they're worth, and not giving yourself or other people even a chance to exist. So it's like, think about it this way. If you're so kind to someone else, not because they're amazing, but because you think they're so much better than you, why does there have to be this competition? Why in your mind, in order to think someone is amazing, they have to be better than you? Why can't they just be amazing? Why in your mind, in order to think you are amazing, do you have to be better than other people? Why can't you just be amazing? Why is your opinion of yourself and of people not good enough? It might not always be true. We're skewed. We're biased. We're human beings. But you can't cut yourself down for being a human being. You can't trust others before you trust yourself. Try to see if there's anything else in this that I see that I didn't pick up, or visually or intuitively. there's something in this that's very interesting. This balanced forces. So if you liken this balanced forces to this concept right here, and that flow, that not letting things settle on one side or the other. You know, it has to be balanced. It's, you want to put in your effort, you want to put in who you are. But this is her hands. And when I look at this, the first thing I think is she doesn't have a body. So some of you, trying to get this right, correct, like saying right. You might be being hard on yourself to the point to where when you feel like you need to balance things and you need to put yourself out there and you need to be an active player in your life, you feel like you're being needy. Some of you feel like you're starting to get annoying to other people, and maybe you're asking too much. Maybe you want too much attention. Because if they don't know you, because you don't know you, meaning, you know, why the body's missing. If they don't know you because you don't know you, and you don't know you because they don't know you, and I'm not saying that you're dependent on them, but I'm just saying, like, if there's no possibility for you to know you, or them to know you because you don't know yourself, that's more the focus, then all that comes out from you are these hands saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. And it's not because there's anything wrong with those hands, and it's not because there's anything wrong with you wanting it to be a key player in your life, and you wanting to balance the forces, and you wanting to not let things end on you being a victim. But rather it's because of that mentality that you've had, that you're empty space, that you'd be better off as empty space. Otherwise, you might be in the way of something that might be more valuable, or someone else that might be able to do greater things. But there's another side to this as well, because that's the neediness. But once you come to a place of wholeness, of loving others and putting others before yourself, because you know what it's like to value yourself and you love yourself. When you come to that place, you radiate so much light that all people see when they look at you is giving hands and like wings and like just all this like spiritual energy radiating from you. So, and some of you might be there already. Some of you might be coming there. But a lot of you have still been seeing or struggling, or it goes between your mind where you say, I'm an empty hole, I'm empty, and other people say, there's light here, but if you don't know it, then they question themselves, and then you attract people that are like-minded with you. So you attract people that say, yeah, it's empty. Or you attract people that will treat you as if it's empty because that's how they learn to treat people. Because that's how they do their balancing act, is treating people like they're empty. Because that makes them feel better. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. But either way, you attract the vibrations that you put out, whether it's an indirect thing or direct thing. So when you get out of this boat, you're literally saying, I'm not swimming in that. I'm not that you were swimming, but you know, I'm not being affected by these currents anymore. I'm trying to see if there's anything I see more in this. Okay, and then also for some of you, you understand this concept. You understand this concept and this need for balance. But you've been trying to balance everyone around you. You've been trying to balance everything around you. And so you feel like you're a keeper of this. You're a keeper of this ability to do this. But when this is how the keeper part, not the good part balancing, but the keeper part is how you think you get here, that's also been a struggle for you. Like that can be a good card, but I don't feel like it's necessarily right now. It's more you've just made yourself responsible for everything. So if you have a bad or an unclear vision of who you are, then when someone else screws something up or does something, you can't tell who it was that did it. You can't tell if it was you or them. And then you beat up on yourself. Or you take the blame in your mind. And you might not even consciously, or you might not like verbally take the blame. You might not be like, oh, it's my fault. But you might be saying in your mind, when things don't work out, it might get filed away for you in your memory as something you're ashamed that you even believed would work in the first place, so it's your fault. That type of thing, if that makes sense. So this can be an amazing thing, because a keeper is in charge of it working, or in charge of it access, in charge of all that. But when you take it to that place where there's so much weight on that, it changes. And you've changed that role for yourself before now. Getting out of the boat, though, depending on how you go forward, you may be learning how to access this correctly, how to see this more as a blessing and an opportunity rather than a weight on you. Because it's not your job to be everyone's keeper around you. And it's not your job to be everyone's moderator of healing. So basically, if people around you aren't healing or growing or seeing themselves as great as you see them, it's not your job to try to convince them and then decide that there's something wrong with you because you couldn't convince them. People make their own decisions. And that's the thing too, is like, if this is a portal, say this is the portal, right? And things can go in and things can go out. Maybe it's just me in this moment, but I'm just going to take it for what I feel. Shouldn't the keeper be like in a position that they can also see the portal? Like if their back is turned completely around, doesn't that mean that things can come through and they won't see it? Until it's too late and it's like, miss them. So some of you literally, you've been doing this keeper thing, but you're focusing on all the people in your realm so much instead of thinking, this is what I have access to. This is what I can balance. This is what I can work with in myself and for myself. And then if other people want to use it, they'll come to me and, you know, this is my job. I can work with them with it. But if I'm always looking at other people, yet this is my role, then that means things good or bad can come through. And I won't know until it's too late to catch them. So really it's a matter of needing to refocus your attention and to ask yourself why you're here in the first place. Not here, like here, but here. Why? What is this to you? Because this is that balance, yes. That's why I feel like with the rest of the reading. But it is a portal, finding that balance in a good way to where you don't allow yourself to be a victim anymore, is a portal to a new path for yourself. But you haven't been looking at it. And you might still need to look at, you know, the people around you, But you want to be in a place, in a placement in relation to the portal, to where you can see both the portal and people around you. So that you're still in your realm, you're still, you know, connecting with the people near you. But you're not ignoring this beautiful ability and choice that you've been given. And this, I mean, this is also part of that too, because this is saying you're connecting so much with your realm that you're not seeing this. And this is like the alternative. If you actually go to this beautiful place, this is where everything is their own thing. Like she's with the fish, but she's a mermaid. So she doesn't have to be all fish, and she doesn't have to be all person. She can do both. And that's when she can see everything for what it is. But when she decides that she has to be consumed by or lost in all the fish, then that's when she starts forgetting who she is. Or she starts forgetting that she's her own individual. So there is an element of the whole individual as well, like I was saying here. And here too is like, if something goes wrong, if something happens, you can't blame yourself when other people are the ones choosing their harmful actions. That's not on you. Okay, let's go ahead and pull from the Good Tarot. I hope this is resonating so far. That's my intention. Oh, let me take that out. It's a little shadowy. What messages, Spirit, God, Universe, do you have for my Virgos for the month of March in relation to the reading and visions so far? Okay, shuffling these is really hard, so I'm going to go ahead and do overhand just to give it more chance to... Oh, wow. Actually, I said, let's just go with those. I'm failing to go with that. And I don't read reversals, so... Okay, so let's jump in here. This is like the Wheel of Fortune, Fortune's Wheel. Basically, you know, everything has its seasons, everything has its time. Everything's shifting and changing accordingly. There's something interesting about this, though. Actually, there's a few minutes. But, okay, I'll keep going first. Patience, Patience is basically correspondent with the Temperance card normally. And it's funny because Temperance is about combining elements that might not necessarily go together to create something new. Which in a sense, I mean, even with what we already talked about in the vision part, where it's like, you know, you're transmuting your past. You know, your past that could be dark or could have been confusing and difficult or whatever. And you're transmuting that either for yourself or to share, or either way. But you're transmuting it into something good that can bring life, that can help you out. So it's very similar to the energy of the Temperance card, of taking things that might not necessarily go together and making something new. You know, making something new than the originals, you know, from two originals, whatever. Also, there's an energy of like the things that don't go together. This card, it's literally like she has a clock or, you know, watch, whatever, to her chest. And there's something about that because, you know, if we put something close to our heart, it's emotional. And I mean, just what I see when I look at this, I mean, it might not normally be, not for necessarily every reading, but emotions are, yeah, we can have trouble with patience and we can struggle with things, but emotions, you can't put a time limit, or at least it usually doesn't feel like you can put a time limit on emotions. You know, we have to go through them. We have to heal through them. We have to process. And so to put something so technical and so, you know, regimented onto the heart and like create something new is like, it's interesting because it's funny because just that one element is kind of similar to a part I had for the for Libras. Not the same card, but just that concept. Libras and I believe Capricorns had a similar element as well. But yeah, it's putting something that's technical, that's logical, that's regimen. Like this is even a matter of time too. Time. This is, you know, time fluctuates, things fluctuate, things change. None of that is constant. And this is literally saying, well, I'm going to put it close to my heart. So I'm going to like, I almost feel like this weight, like I'm going to put all of my hope on this. And while that's fine to have hope through different seasons and things like that, sometimes we have to remember that if we're seeking out what we want to happen, we might be pushing away both what's supposed to be and what we want to happen. Because there's other lessons that we have to be learning before we get what is supposed to happen for our good. And, you know, in that season or whatever season coming. So sometimes that keeps us away from that. And that's also an element that Capricorn was dealing with. But sometimes putting your hope like that and being like that, and I mean, Capricorns was more a relationship situation, relational. This and like heart energy and heart healing. This is more of like in your life path. You know, you've been holding on to something. You've been holding on. You've been waiting for newness. You've been waiting for things to change. And I feel like this, for some of you, this is an action of, okay, I'm going to put these two together, like I said, and transmute. For others of you, though, it's, I'm waiting on this. I've been waiting on this. But she is kind of smiling. So you might be resting in the waiting. You might have been learning that you're growing and enjoying this new season of journaling or, you know, whatever habit, the healing habit, meditating that you've started. You know, you're actually, and she's like touching herself, like her chest, like she's like it almost looks like she's like has not pride in a bad way, but she values herself. So she's putting these two together and she's saying, this difficulty in waiting and this and that, I'm just going to rest in it. This is fine. This is the way things are. This is good. And I still feel beautiful and I still feel this, even if I am waiting for the other, not waiting for the other shoe to drop, because that's waiting for something bad to happen. But even if I'm waiting to hear what's really happening or waiting to hear how things are going, you know? So for some of you, you're taking things really well and you have been, and that's going to help you. And for others of you, you have just started culminating these two and saying, okay, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to change this. This doesn't have to be my identity. This doesn't have to be my life story. I'm not a product, or I'm no longer going to be a product of my past. Or, I mean, you know what I mean, but like in a limited way. This is Page of Swords, and Page of Swords is stuck in your head. Like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I need to know all my options first. I need to figure this out. And it's this whole like potential of like intellectual knowledge and thoughts. But what it comes down to when that's your energy is you haven't moved. It's the focus is so much thinking and getting everything right and doing everything right and knowing what you're doing before you do it, that there's been a fear to move. And even this is you hold the light, but Two of Fire, it's fire is the wands, is creativity, action, passion, but Two hasn't really made a decision yet. So you've been chewing on some things, and it could be relating to what we talked about, and it could be in other realms as well. So this looks like what we've been talking about. Try to see if there's anything I'm missing in this. There's like a head sticking out here. So I don't know if some of you are dealing with waiting for somebody to come back around, maybe a past person or something like that, that you're just like, okay, like I'm just gonna work with what I have in myself during all this time. But she's looking at that. Like, she's not looking, but she's facing that. And they're very similar color. I know the cards have similar colors in general, but these feel very connected. And I mean, there's the stars here, and then there's this star here. So it like reminds, like this is, and then this one, like I said, it's Page of Swords stuck in your head. And not stuck in your head trapped necessarily, but just you haven't chosen to take action because you haven't felt secure in taking action. And some of that can be a mental thing of a insecurity issue, and some of it can just be you haven't had the right information yet. So you've just been stuck. And then this is you're between two different choices. So this part might not have to do only with the healing part that I said here. You are getting into a new boat. Like I said, you're getting off that boat, not into a new boat. I mean, you're getting off that boat. But because you've been chewing on how to see yourself or how to change what you're noticing you've been doing wrong as far as how you've been treating yourself, you've kind of been mentalizing a lot of it, as Virgos tend to do. I say Virgos, but honestly it's we Virgos because I'm a Virgo sun. So yeah, you've been mentalizing it. You've been expecting to take action, and you might be, because this is the last card here, you might literally just be like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go, for some of you. But there's always this beforehand. So you've taken this, like this might be a full path for some people, where you've taken this, always been waiting for that. Now you're holding it close to your heart, but you're also trying to create something new with your past. New with your past, meaning your past circumstances, and breathing life into all that, and creating a new path for yourself. And then you're coming to here and you're like, wait a sec, how do I do this? What does this look like? And then you're coming here and you're like, okay, fine, I have these decisions, I have this is what this looks like, this is what this looks like, and guess what, I'm holding a light, so I think I can actually go. And that's kind of where you're at. You're like at this precipice of moving, putting the for sale sign. And if you haven't yet moved, in your mind you have yourself with the for sale sign, and you have yourself here, and you're saying, hey, guess what, this house is for sale, this is done. And you're communicating it with yourself. You're trying to get your heart and your mind on the same page so that your actions can go forward. But you're right there, like this looks like a little like cliff, bridge, whatever. It's interesting too, there's like a rug on it, and then it's also a giraffe, which giraffe isn't like, I don't even know if people really ride giraffes, I don't know. But the idea, it's like you have this height, you have this perspective, you have a new gained perspective that might also sometimes make your choice feel harder, because you're like, oh, it feels like sometimes there's more weight because you want to do the right thing, because you know how much more it means, And it's not even you holding the light. It's the giraffe. So it's your path comes with a light. Not your path, but your mode of transportation already comes with the light. So you got, like, think of it like this way. You got out of the boat, and then now you jumped on the giraffe. But the giraffe has a light. So the giraffe is going to light your path. So this new path you're on is already going to be lit up and so much more clear. And there might be, you know, struggles as usual. And I mean as usual because that's part of our growth in life in general, is learning how to overcome different situations. But even still, there's going to be clarity if you're not in yourself, about why you're doing things and why you're not doing things or what you need to do different. But in your path in general, I feel like. So yeah, I hope that resonated for you guys. It was a little bit different. Like towards the end, it went to a different direction a little bit. So you guys, like I said, some of your issues, some of your past stuff, some of you, it might be relational, not relational. Well, yeah, relational, but that's not what I was going to say. Some of you, it might be familial and family wounds and upbringing issues. And then for some of you, it might be relationship situations or past relationship issues. And you're trying to make sense of the past and the current. And the past might be sticking up its head every once in a while. It might be that person, or it might be other people from your past. And, you know, it's a matter of making sense of the whole thing and figuring out where you stand, where you end and others begin. And yeah, because you don't want that where other people are doing something or other people are being unfair to you, or not unfair to you, but you know what I mean, acting badly, whatever, and you blame yourself because you feel like you could have talked them into being better people. You don't want that. So right now, you're in a phase, you're in a state of needing to figure out where you start and other people begin. And like I said, with that sign, the running out to the car, that's a very loud, aggressive move. And compared to how things have been, it's a lot louder and more aggressive than you have been. So this whole new path, this whole new venture right now is going to be new for you in the sense of it's operating almost in a modality, not modality, but I don't know how to, in a way that's just, it's just new for you. It's different. It's still, you're still being yourself, but you're learning what else you're capable of. And you're learning how bad you want this. Does that make sense? You're learning how bad you want a clean, not clean, a healed identity where you no longer see yourself as a product of your past. Well, I hope that resonated for you guys. And like I said, that is my intention, always to help you guys and to help shed light on things. And yeah, and please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what did and didn't resonate with you. Let me know which group you are, because that's a lot of different groups of people I talked to. And yeah, I will see you next time.